Hey everyone, welcome. My name is Jen O'Sullivan and I'm super excited you're here. You are in the right place if you're looking for the 90-Day Wellness Challenge. So I'm going to give you a little bit of an introduction as to what this is all about, why we're doing it, and why you might want to join, and know who it's for and how it's going to work. So let me just get into the why first. The why is an important factor into not only why I'm doing this for everyone, but also why I really got involved in wanting my life to be well. So the term wellness is an important one for me. Within Young Living, I'm a Young Living person. You don't have to be a Young Living member to do this wellness challenge, but I promise you, even within the first 2 weeks, you'll be interested in these products. So many of you who are joining are Young Living junkies, we call ourselves. It's a little bit crazy because once you understand the amazing magnitude of what goes on within our communities, it just is so important to understand and dive right in. So I'm going to encourage you on that one. But first, let me share with you why wellness, that term wellness, and it's part of Young Living's motto, right? Wellness, purpose, and abundance. And why wellness is so important to my lifestyle, to me. I don't do well when I'm not well. And we kind of joke, right, as moms, if mom ain't good, nobody's good. So we keep the ship running. And I love that. I love wearing multiple hats. I love helping people. I love being a mom. I love being a really excellent wife. Like, that's an important part of who I am as a person. I love helping my friends. I can't do that if I'm not well. So let me share with you a quick story of when Jacob got really sick. So I started with Young Living in 2007. I actually started on a wellness plan, so to speak, in 2007. It was right before Jacob was born. It was right before we actually conceived him. So he got conceived, right, in April. And right around that same time, I was really researching what it was to get pregnant. What did that look like? How did I need to be healthy? Because I wasn't. I was, fast food restaurants practically every day. My husband and I had gotten married 3 years prior, and we just were eating ourselves silly, gaining tons of weight, feeling sluggish, not our best selves. We had this baby, and we're determined to make sure he wouldn't have that same path. So I researched everything, and I got onto some really good products, and that's one of the products was Young Living. I got introduced to Young Living right before Jacob was born. So Jacob was an oily baby, but I was signed up, and I bought my kit, and that's it. I didn't learn about the community. I didn't understand how the other products worked. I didn't understand that we even had other products. I thought we were just essential oils, and I used them for years. That's it. I used the oils I was introduced to only. And back then, Valor wasn't in the premium starter kit in 2007, so I was never introduced to that oil. I was introduced to Peace and Calming. I was introduced to lemon and peppermint and joy and frankincense, some of these staple oils, but obviously Thieves. Never was I introduced to Valor. And never was I introduced to our other product lines, right? We have like 700 essential oil infused products. So I was like, that didn't matter to me because I just wanted to join for the oils. The person who signed me up never contacted me again. I didn't really even know her. And it was just one of those things where I just kind of started learning on my own. And what I loved was that every time I got some oils, I always called it in because I didn't understand how you signed into your account. I always called and said, I need to order some more. Okay, great. What would you like? And every time I got an order, I would get a audio recording of Gary. There was always something, either from Mary, right? A really little black and white photocopied sheet that had some information on it, or there was some educational training in there. So I learned just directly from Gary and Mary during those years and learned some very basic elements that are foundational to my way of oil use. Later, fast forward several years later, now Jacob's in first grade, and I have been using them like a Band-Aid. Do you guys know what a Band-Aid means? It's like when I need them, I use them. I didn't use them as a health regimen. I didn't use them as a daily lifestyle habit. I just used them when I needed them. And Jacob in first grade, right at the beginning of school, got exceptionally ill to the point where we didn't know what it was. We thought it was pneumonia. He had a high fever. coughing, just really weird, never been sick like this before. So we rushed him to the hospital eventually, and they took him into the emergency room. They did some scans, and they saw all this kind of stuff on his lungs, and they didn't know what it was. They labeled it pneumonia, but they said immediately we need to admit him to the children's ward, and they wanted us to go to this hospital that was about 40 minutes away from our home because they had a better care facility for children. So we went, and I'm freaking out, right? Because he's never been sick like this before. And Tim works the night shift at the time. He worked at Home Depot, and he needed to work, so he came with us, but then he had to go, and I'm like, it's okay, I'll be here, no big deal. He had to go back and sleep, it's just the way it is with the night shift. And for 3 days, we sat in the hospital. And I say we because it was just me and Jacob. Tim couldn't come. He had to work. He had to sleep during the day. It was, he operated heavy equipment, so there was no negotiating that one. And I sat there with a child who was super sick, and nobody could figure out what was wrong with him. The doctors pumped his little body full of every single antibiotic they had. Every different strain. They tried everything. We were in a cordoned off room that was isolated so that when the nurses and doctors came in, they were in full garb, and then when they left, they had to strip down and decontaminate themselves. We were in basically a contamination room that they didn't want it spreading because they didn't know what this was. So I sat there for 3 days with a kid who doesn't remember any of this because they put him in a sort of medically induced coma, so he was not lucid. And all I had was my thoughts. And I remember sitting in a chair. I didn't even have a bed. And I had to sit there for 3 days. I slept in that chair all like curled up. And I remember feeling so incredibly alone. I remember pushing people away too. I remember feeling so angry at my family, at my friends, at my church, for not visiting, for not coming, for not helping. And I remember feeling just utterly isolated and alone and unloved. And what's interesting about thinking back on that, I pushed everyone away. Everyone asked me, can I come? Can I help? What can I do? Can I bring you food? No, I don't want you to. We're so far out, because it was a 40-minute drive from where we lived. It's too far. I don't want you guys coming. It's no big deal. Don't worry about it. You guys, it was a big deal. My son was dying, and I didn't want help. I was saying no to everyone. And I will tell you right now that as much as I said no, I was desperate for community. I was desperate for people. And they all said, okay, we will respect your wishes, and not a single person came. My mom, my sister, my best friends, my church group, nobody came. My husband couldn't even come, okay? So I sat there in my own issue, right? My own pushing people away, feeling sorry for myself and feeling so unloved and so helpless. And I was just with God. That's it. Jacob was asleep on the bed, all hooked up, and I was just there for 3 days, crying my eyes out because I knew he was going to die. I literally got to the point where I never asked God to heal him. I just asked that that this would work in his will, that we would get through this, that he would somehow make this work. And if he were to allow him to live, that I would change the way I addressed health in our home, that I would change the way I cared for this little being. I felt like God had given me a talent, right? This was a talent. This was one beautiful coin that instead of growing, instead of being a good steward of this one little coin, I buried it in the dirt and decided this is what I'm doing with this talent he's given me. And I told God I am ashamed, and I am so sorry for what I've done with this beautiful gift he has given me. And if it is time for you to take him, I am overwhelmingly grateful that you gave him to me for the years you gave him to me, because this kid was phenomenal. And people who knew him growing up understand what I'm talking about. I mean, this kid is phenomenal. And I sat there just pouring my heart out to God for those 3 nights. And I remember on the 3rd night, just being filled with gratitude and thanking God for giving me this being, this little boy, and saying, you take him. If this is your will, if this is what you want, you take him. And I'm not kidding you when I say I was okay with that, because it's God's will and because he was not mine. And I had done a poor job at keeping him healthy. And so I said, you go ahead and take him, and thank you, and I'm sorry. And if you bless us with another child, amazing, but if you don't, I understand. And I'm not kidding you. He woke up. It was at that moment that that child woke up and his fever left him. And the nurses came in and were like, what's going on? Because they could see on his charts, like when they came in, they were like, he's fine. Why is he fine? This doesn't make any sense. And I will tell you, I know exactly what it was. It was God giving him back to me. And it was my Isaac moment. Do you know what I mean? It was, okay, take him. And he said, okay, I thank you. You understand. You understand now that he is not yours, that he is mine. You understand now that you are not yours, you are mine. And so this was such a beautiful thing for me to experience, because I know the doctors had no clue what it was, and they still didn't. I mean, we got hit with a $25,000 bill on something they had no idea what happened. And so what was so interesting to me was that it was that moment that a gal came into my life, and she shared with me, it was literally like, I think it was 2 weeks later, that Jessica Laney Petty came into my life for coaching. And I was a coach, and that was what I did. And I was a business coach for many years, working with celebrities and working with huge hotels to help them with business. And so she came in and got some coaching with me and showed me what she was working on. And she was showing me this community. She was showing me people that loved each other and that served each other and that worked well with one another. And it was crazy what was going on with her. And she said, I don't understand. I'm just about hitting diamond, and it's like $30,000 a month. And we don't, this all just came so on so fast. I've been doing this for like 18 months. And it's just, the people are incredible. And she showed me all of this stuff, and I was like, what are you working on? What are you doing? And she said, well, it's with Young Living. And I was like, what? Like, what are you talking about? I've been with Young Living since 2007. And she said, no, it's just, we learn and we grow and we do life together, and we're well together. And it was so interesting, you guys, because I'm a very fierce, like, I'm going to do things my way kind of girl. And I was tired. And it took me 3 months. I think it was like 3 or 4 months. It was from the time, so in October he got sick, and just at the beginning of November we met. December, January, February, middle of March, I finally called her back. And she didn't ask me about the business or anything. She was asking me for coaching help on how to get through a glass ceiling she was working on through social media. So I helped her and coached her for 2 hours. She wrote me a check, and I thought, oh my gosh, I charged her half price. I should have charged her full, like she was a college student of mine. So she came to me knowing that I could give her some good social media advice. And it took me about 3.5 months of sitting and just feeling overwhelmed, and God shutting doors after doors after doors for me. And I remember sitting in March on my couch, and I had just poured my heart out to my husband saying, I don't know what to do anymore. I'm running this huge photography business with 3 studios. I had a studio in Beverly Hills, a studio in Irvine, and a studio in Pasadena. And I'm done. I'm exhausted. I don't want to do this anymore, and I don't know what to do. And he looked at me. He's never seen me without a purpose before. He's never seen me undriven. And he said, I don't know what to do with you. And he walked upstairs. And I sat there for 4 hours staring at the wall because I didn't know what to do. And I said, God, show something to me. Show something. I don't know. And I'm not kidding you. After 4 hours of sitting there, it just kept coming up. Call Jessica, call Jessica, call Jessica. So I called her up, and I said, I don't know what to do or how to do this, but I kind of think I want to do this. So she said, just call Young Living and see where you're at. Because again, I had never heard from my other enroller. I still don't really know who she is to this day. I found out her name, but don't remember who she is or know her. And she apparently wasn't doing the business anymore. And so I called and they said, you are eligible to switch if you want. It's no big deal, because I hadn't ordered in a year. So this is what's so interesting to me, is that I had my set of oils, like there was 6 or 7 oils. And the only oil we used on a daily basis was tea tree. And we used Thieves every once in a while as a Band-Aid, right? So it was this whole thing of like, okay, I want that vitality that Jessica has. I want that community that Jessica has. So I switched and I never looked back. I literally that day got into her group, did all the training, and started. And I never looked back. I retired from photography that day. And it's been 5 years for me, and it's been weird. It's been wild and amazing and like incredible. And can I tell you the difference in 5 years? So 8 years of sporadic use of I'm just kind of do what I want when I want and kind of use it here and there, to dive in 5 years transformation. It's night and day different. You guys, my hormones are different. The way my body responds, my brain, my ability to function in life. The now is so different than the then. And I know right now, if one of us got sick, because we all get sick, we're human, right? I'm not like in a bubble. If one of us got sick, I have the tools to work it out. In 5 years, we've never been to the doctor. I mean, I'm talking for anything that we had to go for normal. Just normal checkups. That's all we go in for. Even my husband, who has diabetes, he doesn't get sick anymore. Like we just don't. And it's not that we don't get little things here and there. We're not completely immune to anything. That is not what this does. What these natural products do, the full of them. I'm not talking about just the oils now, because now I understand the value of natural-based cleaning products. I understand the value of natural-based supplementation, plant-based. Everything from nature works in synergy to keep your immune system balanced, to keep my hormones balanced, to keep everything well. And so that's what this challenge is about. This is to help you understand in 90 days the value of it all. So I'm going to share with you real quick how it's going to work, who can join, how long it's going to be available, like why you should join, where to start. So basically, I want you to understand a couple things. 1, this is for anybody to do. You don't even have to be a Young Living member. So what that means is every day I'm giving you a challenge, and that challenge is okay for anyone to do. I'm going to give you recipes and different things that if you have your premium starter kit, it's going to be way more fun. So I encourage you, if you're watching this and you don't have a premium starter kit with Young Living yet, I want you to contact the person that shared this with you and say, okay, what is she talking about, this premium starter kit? And she said it's going to be way more fun if I get the kit. I'm not kidding you. It's such a small investment and your savings will be mind-blowing. And what I mean by that is think about my $25,000 doctor bill that could have been avoided, right? Because I was just being a bad steward of his health. And that's something where we have to understand it's a difference of lifestyle change, right? So challenge number 1 is just getting 1 hour of sleep more. You don't need a kit for that. I want you to add 1 hour of sleep to your daily regimen. That's it. So that's where each challenge is going to have something doable that you don't need a kit for. And it's also going to have something like the Red Drink Challenge and some other things that are going to come at you. We're going to be making some fun recipes and trying some things out. And this is going to help you see the value of changing little by little things that over the long haul are going to make a massive difference. So if you can stick with me for the full 90 days, you're going to see transformation. So each day, each week, you're going to get a weekly tracker. And so there's 2 places that you can get this. You can get this on the main site, which is at vitality.edu.com/90 days. That is so that you don't need to be on Facebook and you don't need to log into an account. You can actually just get everything on that one page. The other way though is for those of you guys who love tracking and love extra content. So those of you guys who like the extras and like to have all the things, you're gonna go over to vitalityedu.com/wellness. And that's gonna give you the same challenge week by week, but including a lot more. So if you want that, you just have to create a login. It's free. And that's what's great about this, because people think like, oh my goodness, a normal challenge like this for 90 days. I mean, a 30-day challenge is usually in the $100 to $200 range. I'm coaching you for a full 90 days and it's fully free. And I love that because I want to give you as much content as possible. So for sure, make sure you get to vitalityedu.com/wellness. The link is up at the top. And if you're watching this in that, then you're all good to go. So I do these live on Facebook so that they can be recorded and you guys can watch the replays. You guys can comment to your heart's content and ask questions, and then I can answer in the comments here. But also on Vitality EDU, if you have a question, you're welcome to ask the question in the comments there as well, and I will get an answer to you as well. So I hope that makes sense to you. There's a couple places that you can join and be a part of this. You can be a part of it on Facebook. You can watch it without logging in anywhere on vitalityedu.com/90 days, or you can log in for the extra content, vitalityedu.com/wellness. So that's it for my introduction. Make sure you watch week 1, and we're going to get into the challenge and everything that you need to know going forward. So I'm so glad you're here. I hope this is exciting for you. The videos will all be really short moving forward, but our introduction is just 20-minute long. All right, we'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.